Today we're going to talk about a Final Fantasy XIV YouTuber who's currently under fire by Twitter users. And as most of us knows, Twitter users are just full of crazy people who just want to cause drama and have nothing else better to do, right? So the YouTuber must be totally in the right, he's not doing anything wrong at all. The YouTuber in question is a guy named Sufferhymn, and if you're not familiar with him, he's a YouTuber who is specialized in pretty much making really wacky G-pose-like videos that gives you the vibes of like old YouTube poops, Gmod videos from the past. If you were to ever watch one of his videos, you would know right away he puts a lot of hard work into it, as well as having really good editing skills. He's actually gained a lot of attention in the last few months for actually featuring big names like Asmongold in his videos, as well as Zenosis. Now, why is Suffer facing some criticism from Twitter users? Was it something he said in his video? Was it like a weird out-of-pocket joke that just made a lot of people upset or something? Actually, what happened was that Twitter users pointed out that his videos were actually using AI voices of the 14 voice actors, featuring AI voices of characters like Y'shtola, Fandanyo, Xenos, and even people who aren't even 14 voice actors. Like, I'm pretty sure his main characters are voiced by like Max Mofo and Filthy Frank, who we all know hasn't made videos in years. Except for maybe like one or two instances where he actually did pay voice actors for their work, pretty much all the time, it's almost always going to be an AI voice actor. I thought he was just a master at splicing audios, which I thought would have been more impressive, but now I'm just kind of disappointed. When confronted by this information and questioned by Twitter users, Suffer responded by pretty much blocking anybody who he deems to be problematic and anybody he doesn't want to associate with. In fact, he's been met with so much criticism on Twitter that he actually locked his account as of recording this video for like at least a week now. However, he did post his response to the entire situation on his latest video, the live stream too. Here's his whole entire essay-long statement that I'm not going to read every single word for word, but I will actually point out the most important bits to me that I find most relevant for this video. Suffer's first point is about how he blocked a certain individual for their loaded question and being intellectually dishonest. He blocked them and will block anyone who he does not want to associate with. The video is not monetized, but if you do see ads, it's because YouTube puts them in there, not him. He never shied away from the fact that he uses AI, and any comment that is overly negative without thoughtful criticism will be removed, and he will continue to do so. The two voice actors in this specific video, Jeremy and Luke, the voices of Fandaniel and Endwalker and Xenos, were not available on Cameo for a long time, therefore that's why he used AI. But he has paid for voice actors once before and will always choose to use Cameo when given the chance to, but until then, he will use AI instead. Regardless of the last point, the video itself does not contain material from Jeremy or Luke, but other voices whom Sufferhymn does not state. And the last few points are really just him justifying as to why he doesn't want to appeal to others, will continue to make his videos the way he does, and he doesn't want to make anybody else happy but himself. Now that was Sufferhymn's response to everything. Let's talk about his opposition to people on Twitter. The number one reason why people are not happy with him is the fact that he uses AI voice. And I'll be real, we're at a weird point in time where a lot of people are really comfortable with AI voices and content. It wasn't too long ago where everybody was laughing at those videos of those AI presidents arguing over your favorite video game or something. And not only that, but we also seen people use AI voices for like memes or like creating videos where they made people sing. So people seem to be enjoying it, and that makes it okay, right? Now, what may seem to be a harmless video for some is not the case for others. One of the most notable incidents in recent time involving AIs and voice actors was with Erica Linebeck. Erica pointed out a video of an AI generating her voice to be used for a song in a video. She has never given permission for her voice to be used like this and is not in support of AI doing so. Erica was met with overwhelming support as well as some criticism that eventually led to her deleting her whole entire account on Twitter, but I'm pretty sure she's back now. Erica isn't the only voice actor who has this sentiment, but actually there are many who oppose the idea of their voices being generated through AI without their consent. Voice actors such as Josh Keaton, Yuri Lowenthal, Kellen Goff, Jennifer Hale, Paul Eating, Chris Hackney, Steve Bloom, Christina V. Venezuela, and a name that I'm sure a lot of us are familiar with, Sung Wong Cho, aka ProZD. There's a lot more voice actors that I can list, but the general idea is this. Most voice actors do not want you using AI to generate their voices without their consent. And for the most part, they don't consent at all. And to be fair, I did look up VAs who were for AI, and I found Troy Baker, but we all know how that kind of turned out, so if you ever enjoyed any of the voice actors that I've listed, or really any kind of voice actor performance in general, give them the respect of not generating their voices through AI. The most common argument as to why they don't want you to consent is that it's essentially stealing. This is their work, their craft. Not only that, but they may not be comfortable with their voices being used to say things that they never said or wanted to say at all. I like to think that this is something that we all can kind of agree on. Like, imagine your voice being used for something that you didn't approve of saying, like, I don't know, like a slur, or like stating an opinion or a statement on something that you never had before. Now, the argument against everything I just said would probably be something like, Well, they're just harmless videos, so what's wrong with that? It doesn't make any money. If somebody doesn't want you using something of theirs, then just don't. We're not okay with AI art stealing people's works and styles for even the most harmless of uses. And I like to think that most of us are not okay with the idea of deepfakes taking people's faces and putting in certain videos that you probably don't want to discuss in front of your grandparents. But for some odd reason, we should all be okay with AI content that takes from people's voices without their consent. Voice acting is an art form that someone has worked hard to make their own. It's as much of an art form as drawing is, or underwater basket weaving. These are all skills that people have taken a large amount of time to get good in. And to have a robot come right up to your work, steal it, and then make it do things that you didn't want it to do is really frightening. Now, us in the 14 community, we're being hit a little bit harder now because, well, our own voice actors are coming out to say, please do not use our voices in AI content. Colin Ryan, the voice of Alphanaud, says, please don't use my voice without my consent and without paying me. Using AI to mimic someone's voice without permission is not only unethical, it's an invasion of privacy, an infringement of intellectual property rights, and devalues the skill of voice actors. Bethan Walker, the voice of Alice, writes, I trained as an actor 20 years ago and I have done nothing but work tirelessly ever since to become the best possible voice actor I can be. I have sacrificed so much and I am deeply proud of what I have achieved. To hear my voice saying things I've never said is disturbing. Please don't clone me or any of my fellow actors. We are professionals with decades of experience and we deserve your respect. And Jeremy Ong Jones, who's also the voice of Fandaniel and other characters that I probably should not talk about because of spoilers, but he also writes, please, please, please don't load my voice into any AI learning systems. I'm all for the future, but I'm also all for having a future. My likeness is my career. My thought and character choices are my art. My dedication to my fans is my love. Let's work together and support each other. And once again, I feel like I do need to say this just in case because people will probably say it. Yes, I do know that the voice for Fandaniel was not Jeremy's voice, but regardless of the voice used, consent was probably not given, and you probably shouldn't use it, period. Now, with all these voice actors coming out to say this for the 14 side, now even more so than before, I feel like we should probably all respect the wishes of these voice actors. Now that we kind of know how both sides of the argument stands, let's examine Sufferhymn's response one more time. Sufferhymn's response is essentially him doubling down and essentially saying something about like how he has no remorse for the use of AI in his video, and essentially will keep doing the same thing because that's what he likes doing. As stated in his post, he will use Cameo when possible so he can commission the voice actors, which is, you know, great for supporting the voice actors, but once again, only when they are available. Not all voice actors are always readily available on Cameo to take requests from people. Some may take breaks or may just outright reject your requests if it's just something they don't want to do. And of course, if the voice actor is not available on Cameo, he will use AI to get the job done. Now, I do want to point out that you can actually message the voice actors on Cameo to get an idea of when they'll be available, but that comes with a fee, so that's up for you to decide if you want to do that. A really weird argument I've seen that's used to defend Sufferhymn's use of AI is that, well, he's used Cameo before in the past, he's paid for voice actors, so that totally makes it okay for him to cut corners. No, it doesn't actually. There's still a lack of consent, period. Lack of availability does not equal consent at all. And another thing I want to point out as well is that he has used AI voices of voice actors who've never been on Cameo, period. He has used Y'shtola's voice, and I found her voice actor to have zero history of ever being on Cameo, ever. And I know this because I am a Y'shtola simp, so therefore I'm still waiting for the day she ever comes to Cameo. And there's at least 2 instances of her voice being used in his videos. And another example of the same exact kind of situation is Urianje's voice actor, never been on Cameo ever, was used at least twice in his videos. I also do want to point out that Sufferhymn is known for putting a lot of credits in his descriptions of people who helped him in his video. He even linked and credited the voice actor of Xenos when he helped him with his video once, but you never really see that ever with any other voice actor. And this leads me to believe that, you know, any voice that isn't credited in his descriptions is most likely an AI-generated voice. Now, regardless of monetization or not on your video, if a VA doesn't want you using their voice at all, then don't do it. And I get it, you know, people are saying if you monetize the video, it makes the situation even worse because you're profiting off that. It's much like if an artist doesn't want you using their art without their consent, then just respect that. The name of the game here is just simply respect. I would just err on the side of, you know, being on somebody's good grace and just say, hey, you know, they didn't want me to use it, I won't use it. In case there could be legal trouble one day, who knows. Also, you are still kind of profiting off the use of AI in your videos because while I get that you're not monetizing the videos, you're still getting donations. And I know it's donations and you can't turn them off, but unfortunately, you're still profiting off AI content regardless. Now, I do want to point out the part where he says, the voices generated contain no material from Jeremy or Luke. Now, while he may be right and the voices used were not Xenos or Fandaniel's current voice actors or something, regardless of who you use, doesn't matter. Using AI means that somebody was not being compensated and most likely wasn't giving consent at all. Now, to his whole claim about blocking people who he doesn't want to associate with, I had a friend of mine who was blocked on Twitter for just asking him, hey, where did you get these voices? And they were just blocked. Another person was blocked as well just for asking him to address something on Twitter. And I get it, we all have the right to block anybody who we don't want to associate with. I perfectly understand that, but when you're starting to block people for the most mildest of questions, it starts to look suspicious. Now finally, the last big point I want to address that wasn't a part of his huge long college essay, but a point that was actually a reply up to that, and that said, he will continue to make his content the way he does without changing anything in the last few days. Hey man, it's fair, you can make whatever you want, it's your channel, your videos, you do what you want. It just screams to a lot of people like you have no respect for any voice actors out there at all. This is also like the worst timing ever because this is during the time of, the writer strike going on. And one of the points from the writer strikes is the fact that they don't want AI to replace their work entirely. To make this kind of content is already distasteful and disrespectful, but to make it during the strike, it's not a good look. And in a way, that's what's going on with these videos. You're not getting the voice actors themselves, you're getting AI, thus you're not paying them or getting their consent. Now, nobody's doubting the amount of hard work you put into your videos or saying that you can't make these videos anymore, period. Maybe a change in video process could help everyone in the long run. Speaking from, YouTuber to YouTuber, content creator to content creators with you, Sufferhymn, I get it. When there's a wrench in your plans for the process of video content creation, it gets really annoying. If you are unable to get the professional voice actor for that certain role, you can always look to getting an amateur voice actor who can do a really good impersonation. This allows VAs to have more work out there, and as well as, giving them the experience to be a part of projects that add to their voice reels. Experience is great for people, but not only that, if you're able to pay for these people, everybody wins. After all, you did say if it wasn't for said voice actor to be available on Cameo, you probably would have gotten them anyway, so why not in turn just let a up-and-coming voice actor have a shot at your videos? And I want to point out another thing is like the Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged series or any kind of abridged series in general where they use voice actors to try their best to kind of sound like the actual roles. They may not actually sound like them, but it still gets the job done, and I think we all like to think that those videos are still really funny regardless. I also do want to point this out right here. Somebody made a meme of Xenos and somebody else lent their voice trying their best Xenos impersonation to sound like Xenos, and honestly, it sounds quite spot on.
Why would I? It mixes the sugar. Maybe you want that. Maybe you do.
Eventually, the real voice actor of Xenos did step in and, was commissioned to do the actual voice, but regardless, the guy who did the impersonation still did a fantastic job. So if you're an up-and-coming VA or somebody who has a really mean impression of Estinian, then let me know. Let your content creators know. Let's Sufferhymn know, so that way we could work with you guys one day if we need it, and that way we don't have to give the jobs to AI. Here are some last-minute arguments I've seen from Sufferhymn's viewers. I'm gonna try to address them here so that way I don't see the same kind of arguments in the comment sections, but if you guys do see the same exact ones, just comment saying bro didn't watch the video or something. Other videos are using AI like the singing ones, why are we coming after Sufferhymn? That doesn't make it okay. If they're not already, these kind of videos should be equally criticized as well. This content is literally like Gmod videos and YouTube poops from the past, and those videos didn't receive backlash. Once again, there's a difference between splicing audios and having an AI generate things. Words that actors have said before, they just, mixed around. There is a clear difference between that and AI generated lines. Okay, but Sufferhymn used the AI voices of other people other than just voice actors, but we're gonna defend voice actors only? Anyone, regardless if they're a YouTuber, a voice actor, whatever, if they've ever came out to say, hey, do not AI generate my voice, simple as that, the principle still applies. What I'm trying to say is that voice actors are the ones who are coming out loud and clear about this, but once again, regardless of that, if somebody says, don't use my voice, YouTuber, whatever, don't use it. One last argument I'll present here is that, well, these videos are harmless, so why does it matter? Well, it's not harmless according to the voice actors, so yeah. I don't understand why we're not holding AI voices up to the same degree as AI art or deepfakes. I'm pretty sure we all know for the most part that we don't go up to an artist and say, hey, I really like your work. Can I just, steal it and put it in an AI thing so I can generate the same thing without you ever having to help me? Then why doesn't that apply to voice actors as well? Am I calling for the cancellation of Sufferhymn? Yes. No, of course not, guys. Come on, calm down. If nothing changes from Sufferhymn's channel and he continues to make the same video he always does, then it is what it is. Honestly, as long as viewers are knowing what's going on, then that's okay with me. Like, in fact, I actually approached a few of my friends about this whole entire topic, and they had no idea he was using AI to generate all these voices. Everyone just thought he was a master at splicing audios, and that wasn't the case. And for Sufferhymn, I just want to say that, like, we're not out here trying to say you can't make your videos. I'm just saying a change in the process would do more good than harm. I hold so much respect for voice actors out there now because after trying it myself, I see just how hard it is. It's not like as simple as walking up and saying lines. It's like you actually have to convey emotions and all these things with the use of just your voice. I feel like people don't really respect how much work goes into voice acting, and it really makes me kind of sad because I can see it being something that people take years to master, and it's actually really tough to kind of get around to being good at. Once again, it's just an art form and a skill that people have, and they've worked so hard to make their own, and we just need to respect that a lot more, I feel like. As we've seen here with Sufferhymn's videos, his AI will essentially replace voices that he doesn't need to, cameo for, and that's kind of scary because, that kind of reflects the real-life applications of, like, how people are slowly losing their jobs to AI because, voiceovers can now be done by AIs, so what's the point of having a person do it? I'm gonna end this video with a statement that a good friend of mine told me that really resonated with the whole entire message of this video. Art is a luxury. Pay someone to do it, or learn to do it yourself.